I am Mike Marshall with the CIA.
Take the suspect!
Give me an update of the site capture.
The movie kicks off with an intense standoff at a harbor, where CIA agents and elite American special forces find themselves in a heated gunfight. Their mission? To track down and seize a shipment of illegal weapons and explosives that a terrorist group plans to use for a devastating attack on Washington, D.C. Leading the charge is Jenny, a tough-as-nails agent who isn't one to back down from a fight. After an all-out battle, the team gains the upper hand, successfully subduing the terrorists. But when they crack open the container that was supposed to be filled with weapons, it's completely empty. Confused and frustrated, Jenny grabs one of the captured terrorists for questioning, but he insists he has no idea what she's talking about. Meanwhile, across town, a convoy of cars speeds toward the airport. Inside one of them, CIA Chief Mike sits face-to-face with Nisa, the wife of a captured terrorist named Amin Monair. Amin, a British citizen with Middle Eastern roots, has already been taken into custody. Mike pushes Nisa to convince her husband to spill the beans about where the smuggled weapons are hidden. But Nisa, who hasn't seen Amin in months, is too overwhelmed to respond. Over at the airport, security is tight as they prepare for Amin's arrival. Jenny, still reeling from the failed operation, meets up with Mike, who assigns her an unexpected task, sticking close to Nisa. Used to being on the front lines, Jenny is thrown off by this seemingly simple duty, but she doesn't argue. Moments later, Amin lands, escorted by Jake, a top-tier Special Forces operative known for his sharp instincts and lethal combat skills. Jake has already taken down several terrorists before getting Amin safely to the airport. As soon as Amin steps off the plane, he spots Nisa. Guilt-ridden, he walks toward her, looking like he wants to say something. But before he can, Nisa, her face twisted with anger and heartbreak, lashes out. She tells him their family is shattered and drops a bombshell. She's 4 months pregnant with his child. Despite her desperate pleas for him to reveal the location of the explosives, Amin stays tight-lipped. He's fueled by a deep desire for revenge, rooted in a tragic past. Years ago, Amin was just an ordinary Iraqi man living in England. But his life was torn apart when his family was falsely accused of terrorism. American forces stormed his brother's wedding in Washington, D.C., killing his young son. That day, Amin swore he'd make them pay, and now he's dangerously close to fulfilling that promise. Meanwhile, Jake takes a quick moment to check in with his wife through a video call, reassuring her that he's safe. But his gut tells him something is off. Spotting a few shady figures lurking nearby, he immediately cuts the call and follows them. That's when he realizes they're mercenaries and they're here for Amin. Wasting no time, Jake launches a surprise attack, but he's outnumbered. Knowing he can't take them all on, he makes a split-second decision to grab Amin and Nisa and get them the hell out of there. Chaos erupts as the mercenaries go after them, taking out several CIA agents in the process. With the airport's communication networks hijacked, Jake is completely cut off from his team. He has no idea who's backing these mercenaries, but one thing is clear. They're highly trained and won't stop until they get what they came for. The chase is relentless. The mercenaries tail Jake's car, eventually forcing him into a dead end. With nowhere else to go, Jake decides their best shot is heading back to the airport. As they speed towards safety, Amin turns to Jake, his voice tense. "Are they after you or me?" he asks. Jake doesn't hesitate. "It's you they want," he replies. Knowing time is running out, they come up with a desperate plan. Jake will take down as many mercenaries as he can while Amin does whatever it takes to keep Nisa safe. Just as expected, the mercenaries close in. One of them spots Amin and Nisa, ready to take him captive. But before he can, Jake appears out of nowhere and takes him out. That's when it dawns on Jake. The mercenaries don't want Amin dead. They need him alive, likely because he's the only one who knows where the explosives are hidden. Realizing this, Jake pushes Amin to give up the location, but Amin refuses, knowing that once he does, Jake might not protect him anymore. Instead, Amin makes a deal. He'll talk, but only if Jake guarantees their safe escape. With no other choice, Jake agrees and quickly straps bulletproof vests onto Amin and Nisa before leading them upstairs. Elsewhere in the airport, the mercenary leader, Jackson, is busy coordinating with his top men, Dunbar and Ward. Jackson is clear about their objective: capture Amin alive before midnight. He needs Amin to locate the bomb and record a public statement. Meanwhile, his team hacks into the airport security feeds, quickly pinpointing Jake's location as he leads Amin and Nisa to the 5th floor. Jackson wastes no time, ordering Dunbar and Ward to move in. Meanwhile, Jake pushes forward, knowing that CIA Chief Mike and his team are waiting for them on the 7th floor. But getting there won't be easy. The mercenaries have caught up to them again. A brutal fight breaks out. Jake, relentless and precise, takes down every enemy in his path. After an intense struggle, he finally manages to get Amin and Nisa to the 7th floor, where Mike is waiting. Out of breath and still on high alert, Jake turns to Mike, ready to brief him. But before he can say a word, Mike hits him with a serious question. What do these guys really want? Jake didn't have all the answers, but he had a hunch that they needed Amin alive. He sat Amin down for a chat, pressing him to spill the beans about where the bomb was hidden. In return, Jake promised him protection and legal immunity. Amin hesitated, saying he needed some time to think things over. Meanwhile, Nisa, who had medical training, patched up Jenny's wounds before turning to Amin, begging him to reveal the bomb's location before the mercenaries got to it. Jenny, still recovering, asked Jake if Amin had said anything useful. Jake explained their deal. Amin would only talk once they were safe. To prove they were dealing with professionals, Jake showed Jenny a phone he'd taken from the mercenaries. The group, known as Team Phage from Virginia, was after Amin, but their leader's identity was still a mystery. While this was unfolding, Mike called Amin and played him a voice recording on his laptop. Amin was shocked. The voice belonged to the woman who had convinced him to bomb Washington, D.C. Listening carefully, he realized that it sounded exactly like Jenny. Mike wasted no time. He pulled his gun on Jenny, demanding she confess to orchestrating everything. Jenny denied it, arguing that plenty of people around the world could have similar voices. Before they could get further, Jackson's men launched another attack, triggering a brutal shootout. Amidst the chaos, Amin tried to escape with his wife, but he was captured while Nisa managed to get away. Seeing Amin being taken, Jake rushed to intervene, but ended up in a fierce battle with Dunbar. Exhausted from previous fights, Jake was ultimately overpowered. Meanwhile, Ward captured Mike and Jenny, then executed Mike, confirming his suspicions. Jenny was the mastermind behind everything. She had hired Jackson's crew to capture Amin, planning to steal the bomb for herself. But Jenny still didn't know where Amin had hidden the bomb, so she needed him alive. She ordered her men to torture Amin for information, but he refused to talk. Frustrated, Jenny decided to use a different approach. She sent her goons after Nisa, thinking that threatening her would make Amin crack. Her henchmen quickly spread out, hunting for Nisa. At the same time, Jake, having recovered, took down one of Jenny's men who was searching for her. Soon after, he encountered another mercenary who had already captured Nisa. A fight broke out, but Jake managed to win. To stay undercover, he put on the fallen mercenary's uniform and pretended he was escorting Nisa as a prisoner. This allowed him to get inside without suspicion. Jenny, still unaware of Jake's disguise, turned back to Amin, demanding he give up the bomb's location. Out of options, Amin finally revealed it was hidden in container number 90. Jenny immediately sent word to Jackson to secure it. With her plan moving forward, she forced Amin to record a ransom video, threatening to detonate the bomb unless the American government paid $500 million. Initially, Amin refused, but Jenny threatened Nisa's life, leaving him no choice. He read the script she handed him. Once the video was recorded, Jenny shot Amin and left to meet Jackson at the airstrip, intending to take the bomb and the ransom money for herself. Jake, still in disguise, was shocked by Jenny's betrayal. Once she left, he sprang into action, taking out the remaining mercenaries and freeing Nisa. He told her to stay hidden while he stopped Jenny and Jackson. At first, his disguise helped him blend in, but Dunbar eventually figured out who he was. This led to an intense fight on a moving train. Knowing he was outmatched, Jake lured Dunbar and his men to an abandoned warehouse, where he took them down one by one. With Jackson's men out of the way, Jake moved in on Jenny. Meanwhile, Jackson had loaded the bomb onto a plane, preparing to leave Washington, D.C. Jenny was supposed to join him, believing her mission was complete. However, just as she restored the network she had hijacked to make a final call, Jake arrived at the scene. Realizing the signal was back, he quickly contacted the FBI for backup. One of Jackson's men spotted him, but Jake swiftly eliminated him before taking on the rest of Jackson's crew. After clearing out the mercenaries, Jake finally confronted Jackson. The two engaged in a fierce fight, but in the end, Jake managed to handcuff Jackson instead of killing him. determined to see him face justice. Inside the plane, Ginny realized she had lost. But instead of begging for mercy, she smirked and warned Jake that this was only the beginning. Her team had a much bigger plan in motion. Moments later, the FBI arrived and arrested her. Before leaving, Jake grabbed Ginny's phone and deleted the video Amon had been forced to record, ensuring it wouldn't spread. And with that, the chaos finally came to an end. The moral of the story? If you're planning a massive scheme, make sure your voice isn't as easy to recognize as your sloppy execution, or else you might just find yourself tangled up in your own disaster.